Vinland, 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 it's the country for me. Vinland, 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 it's great to drink tea. Vinland, 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 it's a great mangi anime. Vinland, 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 oh dear, there's a bee.
That man and his merch.
Hello and welcome to That Man. Get excited as it's time for me to finally look at Vinland Saga. Now, Vinland Saga is a series that if you ask almost any manga tuber, they will recommend it to you. And I'm not going to lie, I really like this series. This series is basically an epic tale about Vikings as they try and find the world of Vinland. It's not a One Piece rip-off. Do not call it a One Piece rip-off. And the story essentially revolves around a young man out for revenge because his dad's being killed. It's original. It's an original tale. It's good. I know these are pretty much every single trope that's living, but this is a really good series, I promise you. And he goes and murders a lot of Vikings, and he's working kind of with the guy who killed his dad. It's complicated. So Vinland Saga is the epic tale from Makoto Yukimura, I hope I pronounced that right, and it is one of the most essential manga that people will recommend to you. And I really enjoyed my time reading Volume 1. This is actually my second time reading it. I read Volume 1 and Volume 2, and now I'm rereading Volume 1 because I want to be ahead of the anime. It's not a coincidence that this has been out this time. I've done it on purpose. It's to ride the trail of anime hype. But yeah, Vinland Saga is one of those series that I really enjoyed. The artwork is absolutely fantastic, and the story it's presenting is rather unique. It is a seinen. It's a more of a fantasy. It's not really a fantasy. It's kind of a more of a bloodbath seinen, not like your usual seinen. Well, that is kind of like the whole idea of seinen. I'm just thinking like stuff like Umaru-chan's like a seinen as well, just in case people are confused. But what I liked about it was that it was very in-depth. It felt very kind of historical. Now, the one I would kind of link it most to is a mix between Golden Kamuy without all of the fun, and mixed in with, I would probably say, like Berserk. It's a serious tale, but there is a few light-hearted elements in it, especially when it comes to the main character's sister. She tends to be like the joke, kind of the gag character, because you do need some more fun things. What I did like about this series is that it does tell a really good story, in that it's all about this young man who he absolutely adored his dad, who is a Viking, and his dad eventually has to go away. All of the young kids are just like, yeah, brilliant, we're gonna stab someone, and the dad's just like, no, he's actually a deserter, and he's just like, well, the plan is, what will happen is we'll go here and we'll turn back, we'll dump the kids off here, and then I'll go alone, which realistically is a deserter. He knows he's going to die. Due to complications along that route, this other character, he ultimately ends up getting him killed through use of the child. The son, who just stores away because, I don't know, he's an idiot. He loves his dad and he wants to fight and stab people because that's what kids want to do these days. Darn children. And yeah, and then it's the whole story of this kid who's out for redemption against this guy, but it's like the only way you can get close to him is working alongside him. And so far, it's this kind of weird storyline about Vikings killing people, I suppose. It's one of those ones that's actually it's really good, but it's actually very difficult to talk about. A lot happens in the pages, but overall, not a huge thing actually happens in the first volume. It's very slow going, but that's not a bad thing. You do get a lot of really great action scenes, and if you like action, this one is going to be one that you are going to absolutely love. Personally, I'm still more of a Golden Kamuy fan. Golden Kamuy kind of has the action, but it doesn't drag itself out. This felt that it was very dragged out. What we get is kind of like 2 omnibus volumes in one. Each one's like 400 odd pages, but I kind of felt even in 400 odd pages we didn't have a huge amount of content in there, at least not compared to, like you said, there's 2 volumes. It didn't feel like we had a huge amount, but that might just be me. Other series I kind of felt that they've managed to pull things up a little bit stronger than that. It does get a lot better in the subsequent volumes. However, volume 1 is one of those ones where it's kind of like, oh, it's got a lot of great action scenes, but don't expect war and peace from it. It's kind of like the time is taken in the action scenes. Chapters are just taken on for just like little bits of a siege and stuff like that, and I really like it for that. If I wanted, like I said, if I wanted a great storyline and comedy and stuff like that, I would just be reading Golden Kamuy. And yeah, Vinland Saga is one that I would personally recommend to a lot of people if you are willing to buy a few volumes. The volumes are absolutely huge, which is why I picked it up on Comixology, because it was $4.99 per volume, and that's a lot cheaper. And it's one of those things that you kind of need to be aware of if you're going to be buying it. I think there's about 20 volumes, so there's about 10 omnibus editions, so if you're buying it, it's going to take up a lot of space on the shelf. So that's why I just went digitally, but it's one of those ones, a lot of people say, oh yes, it's an absolute essential read. So far I'm saying yes, it's a great story. I'm not sure about being essential. I'm sure a lot of people will correct me in the comments and just be like, it gets better later on. And yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I just kind of feel it's a slow burn. Volume 1 was a lot of fun. It was more action paced, but if you're not overly into action, if you want more stuff on top of your action, it's going to be a little bit more of a slow burn for you. But that's just my opinion anyway. And I would definitely recommend it. It is a great series. Just be aware of what you're kind of getting into. Personally, I would recommend picking up on Comixology because you can get it a lot cheaper than the omnibus editions. But those omnibus editions are rather mighty fine. So if you're new to collecting manga and if you really need to have a centerpiece, go for it. Or buy Golden Kamuy. Check out Golden Kamuy. It's also great.